this video, I'm going to show you how to use Copilot Studio Kit for automating tests with your Copilot. So let's start with what is the Copilot Studio Kit and where did this thing come from? Well, the Copilot Studio Kit is built by a group at Microsoft called PowerCAT. And PowerCAT is an extension of the engineering team at Copilot Studio that works with all of the biggest and baddest customers that Microsoft has to interface with. And they went out and decided, hey, it would be great to have this automation toolkit that would allow you to be able to test your Copilot and be able to find out how is it performing. So let's explore a little more on what's inside this kit. So inside of the Copilot Studio Kit, you actually have this ability to test a Copilot through something we call direct line. And direct line is the way that you can connect to your Copilot and be able to chat with it. So if you ever think about the web chat experience as an example, it uses the direct line API. So it's going to use that in order to be able to do your test. Now, we're also going to have Azure Application Insights that allows you to be able to track and see what's going on within your Copilot itself. It also has capabilities with AI Builder. So if you're going to have generative AI responses, you need a way to check those because it's not going to come back with a direct match. So that's one of the reasons why you'll see AI Builder as part of this. And then lastly, it's all built on top of Dataverse. Dataverse is the foundational technology that all of Copilot Studio and Power is built on top of that allows for effective data storage and does a lot of work to make it so that you get this really robust enterprise place to store and be able to search and find all the different components, and also allows that import-export capabilities that you've seen within Copilot Studio. So let's first start with how do I go and get a hold of the actual Copilot Studio Kit. And the way that you can get this is you can go to aka.ms/Copilot Studio Kit, and it will automatically take you to this site that you see here. And in this site, you'll see that it gives you information about the Copilot Studio Kit. It gives you information about the different ways that it can work. You can see here it has things about exact match, attachments match, all of these different capabilities that this thing has out of the box. And I would encourage you to continue to look at this because enhancements of this may continue to happen by the PowerCAT team over at Microsoft. So you'll see that even the slide that I shared earlier is here. You can see a visual representation of it. You can see other things that are in here. You can also check the prerequisites and you can get the installation instructions, which is the key thing for us right now. So the first step is going to be to go ahead and go to the aka.ms/download Copilot Studio Kit. You can just click this link and it will let you download this. And just from there, you're going to get a zip file that's downloaded on your computer. Now, once you've downloaded that, what you're going to need to be able to do is go into a Copilot Studio enabled environment, such as by going to make.powerapps.com. So once you get into your Power Apps environment that is created as part of this, if it wasn't already created, you're going to be able to select your environment. And you can do so right up here. And you can see that I really only have one environment in this particular implementation. So I'm going to use that particular environment as I go forward. Now, it's important that the environment is the environment in which you are have your Copilot implementation that you're looking to test. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Solutions. And now that I'm in Solutions, what I want to do is I want to go in and import a solution. And when I go click Import a Solution, I can go to Browse. I can grab that file I just downloaded, which is our zip file for the implementation, and click Next. And then I'll click Next again. And notice here that you're going to need to create an implementation for application insights. Now, if you haven't already created one, you can go create one of these pretty easily inside of Azure. I'm going to go ahead and refer you to a video where I went through application insights and kind of the configuration that's already on my channel. So if you haven't actually done this before, just know that you need to go and create one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create. You'll see here that it needs a connection name, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a connection name, and I'll just call this Copilot Studio Kit. Then we need our application ID and our API key. Now we need to get that from the Azure portal. So I'll grab the instrumentation key right here and go drop it in. And we're going to drop that into the application ID right here. Now we need to get the actual API key. If you don't already have an API key, you just simply go create one. And in this, I would recommend giving a description. And basically what we want here is we want read and write. And I'll just give it all of the different permissions. And then I'll take this and I'll copy the API key that was given to me. And we'll go back and we'll drop that in. So we'll drop that into the API key here. And then we'll create. And by doing this, now we have created the connection for the Azure Application Insights to store like the telemetry that's going on. And then we have Dataverse, which is where our solution is being imported to and being stored. And then we can just click import. Now, you'll notice that right here, it actually says that it's going through an import process. This can take a second or two depending on your environment, but just know that it's going to go ahead and create the solution for us. Once your solution is done importing, know that it will give you a confirmation on the screen. But let's go ahead and click over into apps. And once we go into apps, now you can see the Copilot Studio Kit has been installed, and I can hit the play button. And once I hit the play button, it's going to ask me to authenticate. If you notice this hang, just know that you can click off of home, click over on Copilots and come back. This is what you should see once you have your solution up and running. And at this point, we should be able to start configuring a test or a Copilot that we'd like to test. So let's first click over on Copilots, and we'll click on New. And we need to create a Copilot that we want to test. So I'm going to test the one that I built for the Porsche information that I have already today. You'll need to come in and decide which is the region, and in this case I'm just going to take the default region. Then over here you can see who's the owner. You can select who it is that is actually going to be the owner of this particular base configuration for this new Copilot. And then we need to get a token endpoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Porsche product information Copilot that I built in an earlier video. However, I'm going to make some slight changes here just to make this simple. Know that there are different configurations depending on what you want to do, but just for the simplicity of the video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the security on my Copilot. And the way I'm going to do that is go to authentication, and I'm just going to turn off the Entra ID authentication. Now, by doing this, it gives me the ability to be able to connect and get an endpoint without having to worry about setting up all the security. Once we've done that, I'll go back over to channels and we'll go to the mobile app. And right here, you can get your URL for the token endpoint. So I've copied that over and I'm going to drop that into the token endpoint here. Now, once we get past this, we're also going to have things like the channel security and things of this nature. And the documentation has a lot of great information, guys, for you to go check out. So if you want to look at all the different configurations that you can have and such, you can go do that. Now, we can also go in and put in like enrich with Azure Application Insights. By doing this, it basically enriches the test results for generative answers test with Azure Application Insights telemetry data. Because of what we're going to do in this initial test, just to show you guys how this thing works, I'm not going to be enabling that in our environment, but that's a place where if you're wanting to get some additional information on what's going on behind the scenes with the generative AI features, you can. Now, the other option here is that we can enrich with conversation transcripts. And again, these have to do with pulling in the actual conversation transcripts. Now, again, we're not going to do any advanced configurations, just calling out a couple of key things that you're going to see. And as you can see here, we also have the generative AI configuration as well that you can turn on and off. And notice here that you have to say, what are you going to use? And the only option is AI Builder. So if you want to test generative AI features, you'll need to do this. Now, I may run a separate video that shows how to be able to do this later. You guys leave something in the comments if you want to see that. Now that we've got this, all we have to do is hit save and close. And now that we've got that done, you'll see that now you have a Copilot that has been configured. So if we go here, you'll also see that I need to be able to configure test scripts. And you can see we've done no test runs currently today. All we've done is created a Copilot that we want to be able to test. So the first thing that we need to do is create a test set. And a test set is going to be like a combination of things that it's going to go run all the tests that we want it to run. So in this case, what I need to do is I need to give it a test set, and I'll just call this Porsche Simple. And I'm just going to hit save and close. Now we've got ourselves a test set. And inside of this test set, you'll see that we have no actual tests that have been run. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some tests. And we'll start by clicking on new. And then we're going to need to give it a name and things of this nature. So let's jump back over to Copilot Studio real quick. And let's look at some of the topics here that we have. And you can see I've got these different things that I've been able to test with. And I'm going to start with the Find Local Porsche Center. And what I'm going to need to do is I need to grab this response right here, which is what the Copilot's going to respond with. And we want to come in and say that we'll just call this Find a Dealer. And what we're going to say here is that we want to use the simple test set. We also want to say how long. Now, if you don't know how long your query is going to take, because you might have like a Power Automate flow or something like that that's on the back end. But the point being is what you're wanting to look for as an input here is how long you think that's going to take. Now, if you read the instruction manual will tell you that if you don't know, you should put 10. Now, anything below 10 seconds, I actually started to see some errors and things like that. And so just to make sure that it has plenty of time to respond, I'm just going to do that. And then with that, we also have a setting here. And this is the setting that says Send Start Conversation. And the Send Start Conversation is basically whenever you go into a Copilot and you first start a conversation, a lot of times you'll see it'll say like, hello, this is my name and this is what I do. But understand that the direct line API doesn't have to do that. You have to send an activity or an event that is the start conversation event. So if your test needs to have the start conversation event triggered in order to be able to work, then you can flip this. But in the case of this, I don't really need that. And I'm going to put in that the expected response is right here. Now you'll even notice I have a typo in here, and we'll play with that as we go. But what I'll do is, and I also want to go in and come up with what is an example of something I might ask. And so here is the utterance that I want to grab right here. And we'll jump back and we'll put the test utterance in right here. So now we have where it's going to ask this question and it expects this response, and we will go ahead and hit save and close. Now you can see here I've got my find a dealer. Now let's go ahead and add one more in. So I'll go ahead and create another new one. And let's go in and let's look at a different topic. And in this case, I'm going to say I want to get accessories and things of that nature, like clothes or something of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the response that comes back, and we'll give it a name, and we'll say, find clothing. And we're going to keep this response match. Again, this is where you can go and say whether you just want to match the topic, you want to see attachments, a generative answer. So in a topic match, think of it that what you're looking for is you want to be able to give it a test utterance. You don't really care what it says back. You just want to know that it went to the right topic. But in the response match, we want to see the exact response. So in this case, I'm going to leave it at response match. I don't need this setting here. I want it to be in part of this test set. And then again, we'll put in 10, and then we'll put the expected response in right here. Let's go get a test utterance. You can see here, this is the test utterance that I want to have. And I'll drop this in right here. And we'll go ahead and save and close. And now that we've done this, you can see now we've got our different test sets or our test queries that we want to run. And now we can actually go and execute this test. Now we'll go into test runs, and you'll see here we don't have any that have actually run. You can also come up here and you can see that there's been no tests that have been recently run. But let's go ahead and say, okay, I want to actually run a test. So keep in mind that when we have these tests, we might want to run multiple instances of these tests to be able to check to see, like, maybe we want to run it on a certain day or something of that nature. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in that this will be video demo 1. And what I want to test is I want to test this test set. Again, that'll test all of the things in that test set. And then I also want to choose which Copilot, and I want to do the Porsche Copilot that we've got. Now, once I hit save and close on this, what's going to happen on the back end is you're going to see that it'll start and it'll automatically kick this off. So it'll take a second for it to start, but we'll see it kick off and start to run in just a second. And we're looking right here at the run status is what we're looking for. And you can see now it is running. Now, again, keep in mind that we had two different things that we needed to run, and we gave it up to 10 seconds. So it may take a second or 20 seconds for this thing to update. And you can see we have a completed test. Now, let's go ahead and click in on the test, and you can see here that we had a successful actual match on each of these different items. And if you want to, you can even click in on them and get more details. You can see this is the actual response. Here's the reason that it was successful. All of these different things. You can, and again, you can have other things that it will give you recommendations and things of this nature. If we had pulled in the information on the transcript information would have shown here. You can also see like admin functions and things of this nature on the test set. There's also related things like an audit history as well that you can look at if you set all of these different things up. And they also even background processes and things that are we're taking. But again, this was just a very simple test of being able to use this, but you can see the power that this will give you as you continue to go run and have all your different tests. And you can see all the different things that you get coming out of this and being able to give you some really good reporting and information around, is this thing performing and doing what you need it to do? Now, if you're interested in seeing more videos about the testing tools to allow us to be able to go, say, run test against generative AI things and things of that nature, again, please put that in the comments below. I really want to try to focus content on things that you guys want to see. And as always, thanks for coming and watching my videos. I really appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Know that you can like and subscribe to my channel. And as always, you can go try Copilot Studio at aka.ms/try Copilot Studio.